Hey everyone, I hope you all are well. A lot of you have been asking me for updates and progress reports, and I have one, but unfortunately, it's probably not what a lot of you are going to want to hear. I know a lot of it is not what I wanted to hear, but I told you from the outset that I was going to be very honest with you, and so I will continue to be. And for those of you that know me, when I feel up to sharing my thoughts and my feelings, I can be very candid, and I'm going to be very, very honest and open and candid here today. Some of the things that I have to share, they're not just about me, they're about people that I know, people that I care about, but I'm not going to get into too much detail because I want to respect their privacy and the privacy of other people that they know, family, friends, etc. So last week was a doozy. Um, Today's Sunday. Last Monday, I got a message from a woman that I know, and she let me know that a long term friend of mine just passed away. And I was really sad to hear that because I was um, hoping to see him and connect with him again at some point, and the sooner the better. Unfortunately, last year I had to cut off my friendship with him. He started making some choices that I couldn't agree with, I couldn't help him with or support him in, and I had to kind of walk away. I had to recognize, kind of a textbook case that the things that I was trying to do to help him were enabling him in the things that he was doing. And the more I kept pouring in to try and help him, the longer it was kind of sustaining him or helping him in this lifestyle with which I didn't agree. So I had to realize that, and I had to make a tough decision to walk away. And we had a very blunt conversation, and I had to tell him that. Um, I love the guy. I've been praying for him ever since, and I was again looking forward to seeing him again at some point. But unfortunately, I'm not going to get that chance, at least not this side of heaven. And I certainly hope I get to see him again. He was a brother, and it's just such a waste of potential. So I was just really sad to hear about that. So that was Monday. Tuesday, I was in my living room. My mother was in the living room taking a phone call, and all of a sudden she burst into tears. I look over, I say, "What's wrong?" And it turns out a very close family member of ours has also been diagnosed with an illness, with cancer. And I'm like, "What are you, jealous of me and all this attention I'm getting with cancer? You have to go get your own cancer too?" I mean, that's just ridiculous, Get your own spotlight. No, but really, I try to maintain a sense of humor about this because if you don't, you can go kind of crazy. So, yeah, that was tough news to hear. He seems to be handling it well in good spirits, but it doesn't help circumstances and the vibe amongst the family. So my heart goes out to him, and I'm praying for him. I love him. But that was Tuesday. So after my mom calmed down a little bit, I just kind of looked over at her and said, I think maybe we should turn off our phones for tomorrow, Wednesday, close the blinds. That way we won't get any news, because ignorance is bliss. If you don't get any news, it can't be bad. Thankfully, Wednesday was better, no bad news. And then Thursday came. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I think somewhere around Tuesday night, someone came to my mind, and it's someone I met just briefly from another friend, a mutual friend that we had, and this man is an herbalist. So this man came to my mind, and I thought I should hit him up and talk to him and see if he's dealt with cancer patients before, and if he might have anything in kind of the natural realm for medicine and healing. So I made my appointment, saw him on Thursday, and talked to him a little bit. He evaluated me, etc., etc. He prescribed some supplements and products and things like that. It wasn't an arm and a leg, and I'm a very skeptical person, but I thought, what could it hurt? So I plopped down a little bit of money to get some things, and I've been taking them for the past few days now. I don't feel any different in any sense, but I wasn't really looking at this to heal me of everything, every malcondition that I have, but just a little bit of info on the update. Needless to say, I'm sure he wasn't really a fan of chemotherapy, and some of the stats he gave out for chemotherapy, survival rate, etc., were not real impressive. But again, not surprising. Right after that appointment, again, still Thursday, we headed to my oncologist appointment, and I met my oncologist for the first time. Seems like a decent guy. But I wasn't crazy about a lot of the things that he shared. So after the normal rounds of questioning, family history, health history, blah blah blah, he told me something I'm really not quite understanding. Maybe I have some kind of mental block, but it seemed to be different than what my surgeon had told me post-surgery. My oncologist told me that I don't have cancer. Yay, right? I don't have cancer. But what he's told me is that out of the 50 plus lymph nodes that were checked, I had cancer in some of those lymph nodes, okay? So I have stage 3 cancer. Cancer was found in my lymph nodes, but I don't have cancer. I still don't quite understand how that works. Again, maybe I have some kind of mental block because for the last few weeks I've been operating under the understanding, maybe misunderstanding, that I have cancer, but that's where it is. Some of you medical professionals out there, you probably understand this. I'm still chewing on this. So that sounds great, right? Yeah, I guess it's better than having cancer or having stage 4 cancer. So at this point, he's prescribing 6 months of chemotherapy as a preventative measure. That still sounds good, right? Where's the bad news? Well, he's told me that if I don't do chemotherapy, I'm looking at a 60% chance to live longer than 5 years. Great, do chemotherapy, increase your chances. Well, he's told me that if I do chemotherapy, I'm looking at a 70% chance to live more than 5 years. Okay? You know, and I started thinking about it in terms of like gambling. If I were to go to Vegas, which I never do, and I had a 70% chance of winning a jackpot, I plop down $1,000 or more, right? 70%, that's a pretty good chance. But if it's your life, would you want to gamble on a 70% chance that you live? So I'm not crazy about those stats. Now, let me say very clearly that as a Christian, I believe 100% that my days are allotted to me by God, and He has the final say. As long as I'm walking as I'm supposed to walk, nothing's going to happen to me that's not supposed to happen to me, and I will live out as many days as He has assigned to me. But as a man, it was pretty sobering to hear those statistics. But that's where it is. So at this point, you might say, well, just do chemotherapy, right? What's the problem? 70% chance. It's better than 60. Just do it. I have an inherent problem with the concept and practice of chemotherapy. Now, I'm not Dr. Google just because I've Googled a few things over the last month. I'm not an expert. But chemotherapy is very, very toxic. It doesn't just target the cancer and the bad stuff. It hits everything. And people die from chemotherapy. People die from infections and illnesses that they get while they're undergoing chemotherapy because it kills your immune system. You know, it's like knocking down the walls to the city. You're vulnerable. And as far as I've read, chemotherapy the genesis is actually mustard gas. When doctors were examining corpses that had died from mustard gas, they saw certain things that were going on, things that had happened to the body, and they thought there might be a medical application, and that's really the birth of chemotherapy. While chemotherapy is being administered to patients, the people administering the drugs are essentially wearing hazmat suits. This stuff is no joke. It is toxic, and you're having those toxic chemicals leak right into your body. So I have an inherent problem with that. As a person, as a health professional, and regardless of whether or not I was a professional, I live a healthy lifestyle. I eat well, I drink a lot of water, fluids, the right kind of stuff. I exercise. So the concept of voluntarily allowing poison into my body is just very difficult for me to think about. It's I'm just not enthused about it. There's a very large camp outside the the Western and medical community that they have a big issue with chemotherapy as well. And I've been reading a lot of their literature because it's important to know both sides. So it's not just a matter of saying, oh, well, here's the cure. This isn't even guaranteed to cure me or really do a lot for me in the first place. So it's a gamble either way. Now, my initial thought was look for some other options and see how that goes for a while and then do chemotherapy, maybe if the cancer comes back. Well, the oncologist said that he would be okay with me doing that. It's my choice, obviously. He would monitor me as the months progress. The problem is that if I delay chemotherapy, that if the cancer returns, that it would be ineffective or less effective. So there's kind of a time issue with this as well. So I'm really kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, or to keep up with my earlier example, the Red Sea and the Egyptians. So I'm really in this place where I'm just wrestling emotionally, psychologically with what to do. I just don't know. And of course I'm praying and I'm waiting on the Lord, but at this point I haven't really heard a clear voice or seen a clear direction. So that's pretty much where we are. That's the update. Last week, not a great week, and I'm still really wrestling with what to do, but that's where we are. And I guess just to kind of get on a soapbox for a moment, if you'll bear with me, if you ever have someone tell you that, if you give your life to the Lord or you run to Jesus, that your life is going to be amazing and wonderful, you'll never have any problems or illnesses or sicknesses, your best life now, blah, 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 blah. Run far, far away from that person because they are not your friend and they don't know the Bible and they don't know God. The Bible is very clear about what our lives as Christians are going to be like, that we will face hardship. Sure, there are blessings and there are moments of milk and honey and things like that. God always has our back, but we are not... We will not be devoid of hardship and trial. Christians die. Christians suffer. Christians get sick and suffer great loss and hardship. The Bible is very clear about that. The prophets, the life of Jesus, the disciples, church history, our brothers and sisters who were fed to lions and martyred. Christian life can be very, very difficult. My life is cake compared to people living in certain parts of the world right now who are being blown up, beheaded, caught on fire. So I'm not making a martyr out of myself. But what you're seeing here is I've been a Christian for a long time, and I've always taken my walk very seriously. I'm not perfect by any means. I screw up every single day, but I've always taken my relationship with the Lord very, very seriously. I've made good life choices. Yet here I am. I'm confused. I'm anxious. I'm praying to God and I still don't have a direction. I don't know what's going on. I believe that He's using this for good, for His glory, for my good and the good of others. But I don't know how He's doing that. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if I'm going to end up dead. I really don't know. But I'm a Christian. And this is just one example of a struggle that Christians can endure, that Christians will experience here on this earth. So again, the best life now stuff, it's nonsense, okay? So I hope I haven't depressed anybody, or I know this isn't a great sales job for Christianity, but that's not the point. The bottom line is that regardless of all of this, God is still in control. And even though I don't understand, God does not require my understanding or anybody else's understanding to do His thing. He is sovereign. He is in control. And I trust that He is doing this for my good, for the good of others, and again, to bring glory to Himself. I may not see that on this side of heaven, but one day I think it will be revealed to me. And at some point, I look forward to bringing you a more uplifting and happy update. But that's where we are for now. Please continue to pray for me. I appreciate it. Everyone's still, it's just amazing and great. So thank you so much. And I'll update you when I can. Thanks.